Good morning, guys. Welcome to FYI for your information. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, guys. It's Tuesday, the 16th of August, 2022.
Yes,
and it's
indeed.
a pleasure to be with you here this morning. I am Gerard Fernandez. I'm joined by Amanza Walton Desire.
Good morning. Good morning, FYI family. How y'all doing?
You see, Vashti Magnat, she know the drill. Vashti said before anything else, Vashti is all, she know what's going to be up today. She said, good morning, my brother Sherrod and MP Joretta and MP Hamanza. Peace, love and blessings. Yes.
Thank you, Vashti.
You see, Vashti's not these was come on and say, where's Hamanza? Vashti know what's up.
Yes. Good morning, Beatrice. And I see Gail. Giles, good morning. So good to be with our FYI family this morning. Let's know how you're doing, how the weather is in your part of the world. It's a confusing morning here. It's raining, but the sun is shining, and you know.
I'm just going through the rigors. I don't like the heat. Like everybody knows that by now. FYI family is pretty aware that I don't like heat.
I don't do heat well at all. I don't do heat well.
I see you, Mr. John Jones, joining us this morning. Babita Brian, hey, good morning to you guys. I see Claire Alexis, Richmond is here very early, and Sheila Boy Child. You know, Sheila Boy
Child. Good morning, Sheila Boy Child.
Yes, he calls me Lady J. I love it.
Yes, lovely. Well-mannered young man.
Yes, Sheila brought him up well.
Yes. Maureen, good morning, Maureen. Peace and love to you, my ladies. Many happy returns, Maureen. Marlon says, Amanda loves, oh girl, I tried.
You see, good.
Switched it up this morning. Thank you. And Irene and Gloria Fraser. Sharon Anthony, good morning, guys. Let's know what the weather is like in your neck of the woods. Let's know, how you're doing this morning. Wilton Lou says, hi, my ladies. Y'all look beautiful. Thank you, Wilton. Sheila's boy child says, yep. He was brought up well.
Yeah, he was. We know that Sheila did a good job.
Nothing as attractive as a good gentleman,
I see Sharon's friend Aldrin is in the house this morning.
Look, Robert, Pops is saying, Sharon late again. You gotta have a serious talk. No, he's about.
He's Sharon working around the clock. Let me defend Mr. Duncan this morning. You hear Mr. Duncan is up working since 4 a.m. Good.
Man, we want to just register how much we appreciate Sharon. No, Sharon does this every day, 3 times a day, and does it flawlessly. You guys, you have to imagine the amount of energy and commitment that takes. So if he ain't on set one time, I'll give you a pass because he's work hard. But he's here.
And truth be told, when he's not on set, it's because he's working hard.
When he's not on set, it's because and then he is a perfectionist. So
you don't know that
everything has to be done.
I try to tell him. I think perfectionist is a nice way of putting it. He's a little OCD-ish.
But we love him and we appreciate him. But he's here.
Hey, Kamal.
How are you?
I see
Kamal, when are you coming down to join us?
Kamal says a cool, breezy, beautiful morning in the town of Bartica.
I can imagine.
Bartica is different. People don't want to know. You see, home is different. You blistering sun, torches skin. For all morning, 12 o'clock, 12:05.
Showers.
different there.
It sounds a lot like Linden. Linden is like 3 o'clock. Between 1 and 3 every day, showers. It's really
people
something
just, it just happens like that. We appreciate the way, Come as a Sharon Duncan is a boss, so we love and appreciate him.
Sharon should become the president. From your lips to God's ears.
That's how it is.
Good morning, Robin Narayan and Yusil Ferreira.
I see you, Azamali. Hey, good morning to you. I hope you're well at your end. What's going on? And Roxanne Garway
is in the house.
Roxanne Garway is from Bartica, Councillor Garway's wife. You don't know these people. Amazing people.
I'd love to. I hope to meet them one day.
You have to.
Penelope says, good morning, my beautiful nieces. Good morning, Auntie Penelope.
Of course. It's Yolanda Time joining us all the way from Region Number 1.
Yes, some power from Region 1.
And Warren Figueroa.
What's the weather like? Good morning, Warren. Good morning, Laverne.
Warren is our Long Island people.
Okay.
He gave us the 401 on Long Island.
Long Island. What's the weather like there? I hear it's so hot in the U.S. right now.
Well, he was saying only recently that it's so bad there that the lawns, kind of
brown.
Dry up,
I know.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
I know.
And I don't want to be there. So
don't do heat.
I feel about the weather. I can't.
I don't do heat.
Come out next week Thursday. She's gonna be joining us.
Nice
calendar.
Nice. Nice. We're gonna have a FYI ladies morning. Yes. And give Sherrod a rest.
I think Sherrod's gonna look forward. He says beautiful today.
Oh, great.
In Long Island.
Great.
So that's good to know.
Warnella Garnett. Good morning to you, and Emily Durant. A lot of people don't. Well, I'm sure a lot of people, but people may wonder why do we spend time connecting like this before we get into the program? Because it's a family. That's what family does.
Listen, this is the best part of the program. The best part of this program is coming on and making sure that you're okay, keeping up with your achievements. If things are hard on your end, we want to know about it. That's the best part. We always say, so many times our FYI family members, they have this milestone, birthdays, anniversaries. They have graduations for their children and so many things, and we are so happy about it.
And
we want
share
to
it
share
with us.
experience.
Absolutely.
Yep.
These are moments that that you have to treasure and so on. As him said, the AC running right now is hot.
Yeah. Listen, I'm here. I'm only trying.
Stanborn is in the house.
Don't mind me if you see me take off this jacket a little later on, because my skin is not the best right now.
Stan says, boom, don't support it.
Don't support. Listen, you gotta be at the different age and stage in your life to understand what don't support it. I took some time, not gonna lie. I took some time to get that one figured out. I mean, listen, guys, it have absolutely the meaning of don't support it have absolutely nothing to do with saying support. We're gonna break it down for you one morning.
Alex Boom. Good morning, beautiful ladies. The weather here, where is here, Alex? Let us know. She says the weather here is lovely.
You see Chanel in the house. Good morning, Queen.
Chanel.
You see this chair that's waiting on Chanel. We're not gonna be talking about this much later.
Right.
Sherrod has said his piece about it. Chanel vacationing all over. Chanel ain't coming to join this chair.
Chanel, you gotta do better.
I see you, Lynn Finance. Good morning to you. I hope all is well at your end. I see Shields Boy. I said, I'm so proud of Mr. Sherrod Duncan and all that he is doing for the Guyanese people. Suspension and all. The man is a beast.
Yes, that is true. That's true.
I'm going to try to hold him back.
And it's, this is so important that people stop to think that he has a family, he has a wife, he has a young child, and he comes here every day to do all of this. It takes effort, it takes dedication, and so this is why it's important that you guys partner.
I see Anthony Nichols.
This is why it's important that you share the live. Smash the emoji.
Anthony said, I gotta take it as much of the program today
before the blackout comes. Anthony, Anton, you know.
Anton,
you know how they are.
It's crazy. It's crazy when it comes to the blackout. At least you get some water this morning to take a bath, right? You gotta be thankful in this side of the world. These neck of the woods, you gotta be thankful if you get a little fan breeze, and you gotta be thankful if you get a little water to take a bath because none is sure.
It reminds me of when we were in high school. Sometimes in PC, you had to master the art of bathing with the bucket. Well, of course, I'm from the country, so that was nothing new to me. But
Yep.
Had to be able to make it do and stretch because back then, in the 90s, the water it was terrible. But growing
up, we know about these things. I think my mother told me stories so much about fetching water. It's crazy. The fetching water.
It changed when I moved to Linden from the quarantine.
Because in Bartica, so my mother, the guys, listen, indulge a little bit, right? Come on. Right? So in Bartica, it was basically 1 square mile. That was the entire Bartica for years, right? You have 7 Avenue, 9 streets and so forth. And For those of you who don't know Bartica, you go and you stop at the Sten. The Sten is actually like at the very peak there, and but the water is just stretched out along. You have the two rivers there, right? So everybody, that was people's source of water before, Gaiwan. So I said Gaiwan. Just imagine how far back it's coming to, right?
Some people know about Gaiwan.
Some people know about Gaiwan. You all know GWI and all those fancy acronyms. Nevertheless. But Bartica is extremely hilly, and I have that, and persons like that was living way up in like Fort Mongrip Hill, Caribbean. Right. Those people have to like literally go to the river with a bucket and fetch that bucket of water to get the water home and all of those. It's different, So you're home right about now.
I bet you they treasure that. I bet you they treasure that water.
Right?
Somebody says that you don't know the value of every drop until you have to fetch it yourself.
Yeah, that's true. It's crazy because now we get up and we go. You go in the shower, you turn on the tap, and you're like. And if it's coming too slow,
it's a quarrel. If it's too cold, it's a problem. We thank God for small mercies. When GWI decides that we should have it.
Yes. Those days when we get it, we don't see none at all, It reminds us.
I think, I think, honestly, I was saying this to my sibling, that I think Guyanese, we suffering from PTSD. I think so. Yeah, because look, and I'm sure every viewer can relate. When you hear your fridge, your fridge has a natural
pause. I know this.
When you hear that pause, you're like tense up because you want to know if it's blackout. And then for those of you who have the internet that goes or that beeps when the power goes, you tense up again because it's like that takes a toll on you. After a while, it takes a toll on you because you travel and you hear the same thing and you realize that you're having that. It's not a very visible reaction, but it's like, oh God, is it blackout?
Yes.
And so that,
I see.
We need effective counseling the whole population.
That is true. I want the guys at the back to just release the comments. I see the comments stuck.
Gentlemen.
What's going on there? I say, when is the next rally, MPGT boy? Soon. Soon. It coming. Don't rush me. You don't rush
good things can be rushed, but it soon comes. It soon comes. What we need.
Aladdin said we want to rally in Region 1 MP. I hear you.
There will be rallies in every region, Aladdin.
The truth is, after that first rally, the calls from everyone throughout the country, every single region has been asking for the next rally to be in their region.
Yeah.
But we have to say we have to go out to every single region. Like Amanda said, there will be a rally in every single region. It's crazy what's going on.
It's a lot
out there.
going on. There's a lot going on. Pops is saying that he lives in Mongrip Hill in 1985.
Gosh, Pops.
Some people didn't born yet. Pops, some people didn't born yet.
I live in Mongrip Hill. I didn't born yet, but that's where that's me. That's my home. That's my only home.
Candy says it's warm and sunny here in Corriverton, Skeldon.
Yep. I think Dolly Anderson there also. And Lola is saying election will be soon. So there will be plenty rallies, People see different things.
Let's see.
I don't know if these people are willing to risk it, man. I don't know if they're willing to risk it. Those people watching the election, watching the oil money, we taking the risk.
Do we wanna, with all of the scandals and the corruption being uncovered
with all
every
the
day,
fishermen talking about it,
the police,
rice farmers,
everybody. Police seem to be on a frolic of their own. It's really. Sharon said we laugh as a coping mechanism. Coping mechanism. But guys, there's just so much going on this morning.
Yep.
There's so much going on.
And of course, if the government isn't doing enough to, as we say, shaft us as a people, we tend to go out and do it to ourselves. We tend to go out, and there's a lot of people out there that I continue to plead with people that we have to do better as a society. Each one teach one, each one reach one and teach one. However is it that you put it over, but we have to collectively put efforts in place to deal with things like domestic violence and crime and all of those things, because it's affecting all of us,
Everyone.
When we open the papers, we don't want to be dealing with the ills of traffic accident, murder, all of. I can't take it no
no.
more. Like I'm filled. Like
I'm telling you that as a population, there's serious PTSD, and it appears as though the government lives in some other place, not Guyana. They are so disconnected from the reality of the people on the ground, the people who can't feed their families, and it really is taking on nightmarish proportions in Guyana. And then, of course, when you talk about it, you're difficult, you're criticizing.
naysayers.
Well, we will criticize and we will be difficult because a lot of people come to us on a daily basis to say, look, I can't feed my children. I need help.
I don't know what I wanted. They want the Manzi, they want to show up, Ben wanting to show up and say high five groups and
you're doing a good job. Doing a good job. Your police force, tip top shape. It is almost as if they wish for us to deny that these problems exist.
Yeah, and that's
you can't do that. If you are going to fix a problem, you first have to acknowledge that things not regular and we need to fix it. So what's going on in the news?
Well, I want to jump right into that because I just said it. I mean, I started to talk about it indirectly, but it's not okay for me to get up and have to open morning papers to read Perseverance man stabbed to death during argument. Where are we going? Where are we going as a people? And it says here that the Perseverance man died after he was stabbed in the neck by another during a heated argument. What type of argument you get in right about now? And this is not these are not people who have lived their lives, All this heated argument, all this tempo and all these things, it's young people. The majority of them is already 20s, right about now the deceased has been identified as 20-year-old Owen Young. How 20 years old?
20.
You just come out of school, you haven't had a chance to dip your toes in the water of life.
Yeah.
And you're dead, There is something that's going on in society right now. There's a hype associated with being this bad boy, and this thug. There's a report. I mean, a done stuff. I heard someone say, people got thugs different parts of the world, but Guyana, we different. We gotta get the worst of it, so we gotta go add dunce to the thugs. All right. That's not a hype that you want to be associated with. You don't want to be associated with a hype that puts you as this bad boy. There's a saying, let me just put it over like this. There's a saying, my mother used to always tell us this as a child, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You don't go and involve yourself. You stay away from certain circles altogether. We have to have real conversations about what's going on out there. Real conversations.
It is.
Only recently, two sisters stabbed another woman and killed her because why? She's a snitch. Where are we living?
I'll tell you
where are we living?
That it has to be. We gotta have conversations about social justice and crime and how those interrelate, because I guarantee you, nobody wakes up and decides that they're going to do this. Some of them come from circumstances that force them. Incidents of abuse, of just neglect growing up.
Yep.
It's amazing. I was talking with some young men in Buxton the other day. They were like 17, 19, and 20-year-olds. And they were saying to me that they did not believe that they could participate in the economy. They said that they say, moms, we feel like development happening over there and we are here.
Yeah.
And
What is that, mom?
Yeah, they say moms.
Yeah.
I feel away, but
That's what it is. Listen, we gotta embrace this.
Yeah,
we gotta embrace it. We're not young anymore.
They say, and it occurred to me that we really have some problems that we have to solve together.
Yeah.
By coming to the table.
Just when I call out people, bodies like the churches, I'm sorry. I call the churches out.
The NGOs.
They have not been doing a good job.
The various religious organizations. There is a place for for them to be involved in
Yeah.
championing social change.
Yeah. When last you saw any church, let's be honest here. I have to call it out. I'm Christian. I could call it churches out. I know what I'm saying. Like, it is not okay for us to have all of these things happening, young people losing their lives, and the church is just rock back silently as though it's a normal day.
Yeah,
No, it's not okay.
I recall a more vocal church in the past.
I do too.
Recall,
that's my problem. That's my problem. We
that
can't have it like continuing the way it is. The church needs to step forward and have interventions. Not okay to have young people losing their lives when you have these bodies. I mean, listen,
and
it's an integrated system, a society. You have to work together. When I say work together, I'm not just saying everybody got to go out there and push it. We have organizations that are established, like the churches, that needs to go out there and do their part. They have to do it. We're not going to continue. We will, as a matter of fact, continue to lose lives if these bodies don't step up and do what they're supposed to do. We do what we have to do as political representatives. Everyone have to do their part. You can't just sit back and expect things are going to change. You don't go out there and listen. I'm a little touchy with this, but you don't go out there and just pray for change.
Well,
activism at the level of the church is different.
We know about faith and we know about work.
Faith without work.
We know that the correlation of it is important. But it really does point to. So, for example, in the past, you had a vibrant interfaith organization.
Yeah, where is that?
Where religious leaders of different persuasion got together.
Where are they?
I don't know what's happening with it. I don't know what's happening with it.
You know why I'm talking, Amanda? I'm talking because I see sections of society beginning to go silent, right? I don't know the reasons, but it's not okay.
And the church cannot afford to be quiet.
You cannot be
cannot
quiet.
afford to be quiet.
People are depending on you.
I think in all of our teachings and theology, we sometimes do not embrace the church as a mechanism for social change.
So what are them? What is the church? I mean, what's the purpose of a church?
Well,
let's be honest about these things.
I
can stay home and pray. I can stay home and pray.
These are conversations that we have. These are conversations that we are gonna have to have because, like you keep saying, everybody has a role to play to really help. We 800,000 people here. If so much,
we gotta do better,
and we have to be able to find a way to live together, to coexist, and to foster a harmonious society.
Correct. 20-year-old dead. This is the morning paper. As we move along, we're moving along to another situation. The young woman, the Venezuela, now was murdered. Rosemary Torres. Now we're seeing a wanted bulletin is being issued for Lyndon Fordyce. These are things that we're dealing with on a daily basis. We have to do better as a community, And I have to say again that when it comes to this particular case, I did make the point yesterday when it comes to Rosemary Torres and the fact that she was murdered in Venezuela. I did make the case when it comes to law and order in the interior
region.
It's a different dish of fish altogether, and the police needs to be way more structured in the way which they're looking at that.
It's a different kettle of fish there, man.
What they're saying that the wanted bulletin has been issued for Lyndon as a resident for a Lyndon resident, Lyndon Fordyce. Right? Let me just get that clear. So persons, anyone that knows the whereabouts of this individual, just contact the nearest police station. We can't have persons just walking. The course of justice, what it is, you're presumed innocent until proven guilty and all of those things. But this is where that is. So if you know where that individual is, just make sure that you contact the nearest police station. But that's where we are at this point, But, Guyana, we're different here when it comes to the money. And Sherry's always say, you gotta follow the money. Anything you want to know in Guyana, you just follow the money. Follow the money. But it's not just Guyana. Let me just say that. This is all over. You always follow the money, And it says Guyana losing big by failing to implement world-backed $20 million US project. Them boys say that they're doing everything in their power. This is Kaiser News. Even Kaiser News has been on their case
about
but
the management of the oil sector.
No, but I'm looking at this particular one, and I have to say that when it comes to the Exim Bank, it goes back. It goes back to that. The Exim Bank, and was none other than Winston Jordan, former finance minister, that sat right here, and he made a point that the Exim Bank, you sign this MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, and you tell people that, oh, you bring it home dollars and all of that, but in actuality, the MOU doesn't take away anything. The MOU, with the MOU, is just saying that we agree that we're going to be open to the conversation and the finances for various projects, and it must fit into certain portfolios. However, most importantly, the government of Guyana will have to meet the criteria before they can even attempt to access the money from the Exim Bank.
There is something called the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act.
Foreign what?
Foreign.
We get to know money if it's going to foreign corrupt practices.
And this is, I think it was, it's very gratifying to hear when we talk about it.
Yes.
To see, respected commentators come on board to say it after. I think, was it Henry Jeffrey? Somebody was making the point that the USSR put the government, sort of hem them in terms of this Exim Bank because of just the stringency of the requirements.
Yeah.
That's something we've been saying here the day after the thing was signed. And it'll be very interesting to see how that is navigated.
I tell people that sometimes you can record, just make a note, a mental note, a physical note, however, of what we say immediately after these things are done. Because believe it or not, you're gonna see yourselves that come down the line 2-3 weeks, a month down the line, then you have some international organization saying exactly what we said, because we try to put perspective into everything, all of the headlines. I mean, it's all nice and good, but the reporting sometimes is so skewed that it doesn't bring forward the actual fact use. Because for example, with the Exim Bank, persons actually believe with the headlines that was put out there that the Ali administration went there, they coming home with this money.
Yeah.
Right? And we broke that down immediately. We said, no, that's not the case.
That's not what it means.
That's not the case.
But
let's see which projects are going to be approved.
We can't overstate the importance of just sitting down and reasoning and understanding and becoming an informed citizen. Information is so important, and understanding is so important.
It's absolutely necessary. Well, guess what? A new fire station and more vehicles to help the government prepare for the natural gas disaster. Minister Ben says, Wales gas to energy project.
Yeah. When you talk about fire service vehicles, I made a point in a post that I had put on Facebook when I saw the traffic lines heading to the horse racing. If we have to evacuate in the case of a natural disaster, like it when you understand certain
you will
things,
die.
You are.
I know where Matt is going with this. There is no evacuate. There's none.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to laugh, but Juretta.
Just in case you want to. What's going
We laugh as a coping mechanism.
We have to.
But it's actually really very serious because you have one road, leading up to the west coast of the beach, one road leading to Region 10, and there is no evacuation plan. Now, you travel, we travel. You go to certain places and you can see billboards in case of high waves, go here. In case of this, go there. Where is our national disaster preparedness plan?
I know I saw water coming over the seawall very, very high the other day. I'm not very happy
let
about
me say it is the mercies of God that we are not consumed in Guyana. We lie 6 feet below sea level. but we keep flirting with Mother Nature.
Well,
And
Warren and Easy, Warren said it would be like the rapture.
cars will be left empty and the
on
people
road.
got no. This is very, very, very important because people were stuck there for 9 hours, 5 hours,
Yeah.
and the police appear to be utterly incompetent. And somebody asked the question: who is compensating the people that missed their flights?
Yeah.
Who is dealing with the people who might have passed because of medical emergencies? All because of one horse racing event. And when you point these things out, people are like, oh, you're naysayers.
I'm glad I didn't contribute.
This is, yeah, I mean, where was I? Oh, I was out of tongue in the opposite direction. But very important questions to development. And Jordan, this is what we talk about when we talk about the window dressing politics that the PPP engages in. They don't do foundational stuff.
They don't do research. They don't do studies. Sure, tell you guys this on a daily basis. They don't do research. They don't like studies and all of those things. They like to say that they go and they have a spot. They put out something up there and they make sure that it's looking all good in the. It's looking
in the
all
hood
good when it comes to the.
Yeah, but then there's little or no there's little or no substance to it. A lot of it is window dressing, and I'm afraid that we continue to sometimes fall prey to the window dressing without looking at the.
Well, the coastline is very, very much so at risk.
Yeah,
and this is no play, people. Listen, we have to have plans. We have to have mechanisms.
Go and look online at the risk map for flooding. Is here.
Just in case you didn't notice.
Morning, everybody.
Right.
Yes.
Good to be here.
You go and look at the risk map, and you will see where and how far the water levels are predicted to rise by 2025 in Guyana. And then you'll understand that what we're dealing with is not child's play. It's serious developmental issues that can wipe out our entire GDP if we do not pay attention.
That's correct.
I see Warren says, I'm glad Sharon wasn't raptured.
At the boat.
Unless Warren, what are you suggesting?
I said the boaty. Morning, folks. Happy to be here.
Jude said Sharon creeping in like a wayward teenager.
We gotta do what we gotta do.
We were happy that Sharon was here since the program started.
Bring up the flank. Watching the flank.
Yes.
Good to be here.
It's good to have you on the line.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yes.
Alana Chang, how are you doing, Port Kaituma? Folks, share the live.
Alana said the boss just arrived.
It's good to be here. Where are we, guys? Don't let me stop the progress.
What's next, yours? What's going
No,
on?
we're talking about the fire station and all those good things that's supposed to be helping the case there that Mr. Ben is announcing.
And I've also made a point, if you all can't solve the traffic, it's national disasters you are looking to do.
What we doing?
That's what you're doing.
I
think they're right in front of you knows.
I've heard some
Watching you every day.
conversations when it comes to things like the people preparing for the event of an oil spill. When some persons say that once there is dredging out there and so forth, it's not if but when.
Yeah.
Right. It's not if there is, but when there will be. And I heard persons talking about the dealing with it there. But I don't think at any point in time we have yet wrapped our mind around the impact that would have on the people here. And that's why when we talk about insurance
time to wrap
and that coverage and all of those things, those things are extremely important.
Yeah. How many Guyanese have insurance? How many Guyanese
How many Guyanese even know? How many Guyanese have a bank account? Let's start with that.
Missed
Missed
opportunity during the pandemic. All the transfers that have been happening, the cash transfers now. Missed opportunity to really push Guyanese in that direction.
Yes.
You know, as you're talking about
but they want pull it around in envelopes in backpacks.
But it's amazing because some of the people from the part-time jobs, they said that they were required to open bank accounts as a part of them getting these jobs. And they were horrified When they went, they had to find $5,000 to go open an account. And then when it was time for them to be paid, they had to go line up in a line to collect an envelope with money.
Yeah. Because you can't.
So there seems to be, and then the other thing about that as well is that they didn't receive a pay slip. They were promised $40,000. Some of them received $19,000. They have no idea if NIS is taken out. They have no idea if they paid FYI. There is nothing there, but they were just given an envelope with money. I mean, do we understand the implications of that type of conduct on the part of the government?
This is not the private sector. This is it's just chaos and confusion all around. All around. Again, if we can manage some traffic for a race, for a horse race, you know, in Bobis,
what we managing?
You know, don't let go into natural disasters and oil spill and so on, because we ain't gonna make it. We ain't gonna make it. That's what I say. So
it's crazy. But that's what it is. So that's what it is. What Sharad is here. So you know when Sharad is here, we're gonna go straight on to what's brewing, the morning brew, and on the international level.
Yeah, lots of things are brewing. I'm happy that you asked. I'm happy.
I know you are.
You know, Kenya had an election. We have the wrong text up. And they have a new president. Kenya has a new president this morning. That's the fella, but the wrong caption is there.
There seems to be some contention, though.
Yeah.
A lot of contention.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we are going to be delving into this across our programs a little bit more of what's happening in Kenya, because I've been talking to some of our Kenyan brothers and sisters, and they say the Kenyan experience looks just like ours. As a matter of fact, they're telling us that once they got their voters list cleaned up, you know, people who are getting 80% and so on, all of a sudden fall down, you know, lower. You understand?
Yeah.
And so they said they're eager to talk to us about some of what has been happening there in Kenya, because it reflects the Guyanese experience almost to the letter. Almost to the letter. So,
and there were four of their commissioners, the equivalent of our GCOM, distanced themselves from the results.
Yep.
Interesting.
Our commissioners? Yeah. So it's interesting again, folks, what is happening there in Kenya. I'm sure I think you have your notation, the name of I want to make sure that we give people credible and valid information.
Yes.
The name of the incoming president.
There's a William Ruto.
That is the fella. So we want to say congrats to the Kenyan people. You know, at the end of the day, we want the will of the people to prevail.
That's correct.
We still looking for the will of the people. They're fighting it in the courts in CCJ and so on. They're fighting the will of the people. We got it in those two petitions. You know what really transpired in those elections, and people. Whoa, they're talking about rigging at every turn. They're fighting the petitions.
This is what I say to. This is why talking about petitions. We have to deal with this issue that Anil Nandlal put out there.
What is that? Which
Anil said.
Which one?
Anil said that it is the ballots that are counted, not the statutory document.
Why didn't I deal with that? It was the weekend.
I was flabbergasted, but we're gonna delve in it some more, because what he did there is dog whistle.
He said more statutory documents will go missing. Don't worry though.
I think basically what he's saying. I mean that persons that saw that bit from Nandlal, because it was reported in one of the government's media. Person that saw that bit from Nandlal, you know the headline. You know Nandlal says his votes is counted and ballots is counted, not statutory documents and so forth. The whole purpose of having elections and the counting of ballots, it's a check and balance. You know, there's several ways that you have to align certain things. It must add up, right? And at no point in time, what he's saying is pure crap. I don't know how else to put it over, because at a specific polling station, for example, a specific number of ballots is sent to that polling station. The statutory documents must correspond with the amount of ballots that are in that box.
So if the list for the polling station has 100 people, something is amiss if you have 120 ballots.
No, it's the vote. It's the vote.
But according to Anil, you need to ignore that and just count the ballots. This is alarming, but it comes from our Attorney General. It comes from the custodian of our Constitution and of our laws.
Joseph, of course. That being said, folks, we got some other things. It's international. We had Kenya.
Yes, continue.
Right?
It's Kenya election week.
They got
Segue.
eerie similarities to the Guyanese experience.
Yeah.
But close to home, folks in Trinidad, they just found this former journalist, veteran journalist, used to be the editor-in-chief at Newsday.
Yes.
They found her dead in her home. This is Susan Mills. They say from the face of it, it doesn't look as though there was foul play, but they're still waiting to see what the autopsy report says. Beautiful woman, beaming with life, just about 55 years old, and found dead in her home. And Trinidad is so prone to violence and also what's happening with crime and so on. Much like here, if they fall apart, we done apart. So they're going to wait and see what the autopsy report says before they.
But our thoughts and prayers are certainly with her family and her loved ones.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of stuff happening in the region, folks. To give you a bit more in Grenada, a bit of good news. They had one of their former ministers elevated as the climate chief at the UN. So they're smiling they're smiling there. Any of our folks get this kind of
Well, Guyana certainly has a very rich history. No, historically. We've had the Shahabuddins and the Sam Ramphals of the world.
Gone to do big things.
Go on to do very big things.
Yes.
But of recently.
Respect and manners, Simon. Is it still?
Yeah.
Respect and manners.
Former Grenada minister.
No doubt, has earned that position. At that place, people look at your face, you gotta bring something to the table.
And I'm very happy because our neighboring small island brothers and sisters are the mercy of climate change. They really their entire countries could be decimated
and who best to be on the forefront? People who have the experience and living it,
have a vested interest in making sure that it goes a certain way.
And I heard you guys before, as we now come in for landing, talk about the traffic situation. Well, the communities have been complaining bitterly about the foolishness. And you know what is, I shouldn't say startling or stunning, is the fact you have absolute silence from this administration. It's like that never even happened. Well, it's like it never even happened there.
Well, not only silence, they got their sirens to get through.
Yep, which is what folks are saying, because just before we rush off, I think we have some notation they would suggest some of what the persons rather have been saying on that front. And let me just take you through some of it. M. Abrams, writing in today's Starbuck News, says, my family, all elderly citizens with medical complication, experienced the worst traffic jam as a consequence of the horse racing event in Berbice. Over 5 hours they were stuck in traffic around the Well that area while en route to the Upper Quarantine. 5 hours. Police were virtually non-existent, and the few who were originally present mysteriously disappeared, they say. Frustrated commuters theorized that the police were taken off the road to act as outriders to the privileged officials and the rich and famous. Right? The rich and famous, who somehow made it to the event without the inhumane difficulties faced by the ordinary traveler. M. Abrams, writing in today's Starbuck News. Yep. And in addition to that,
because we care.
In addition to that, this name looks familiar. You can tell me who it is. H.N. Is it Nobbit? Right?
Nobbit.
Yeah, right? He says in today's Starbuck News.
Harry the Rhyme Nobbit.
All right. He says in today's Starbuck News, yesterday, after paying our last respects to Miss Bibi Shadi, 2 friends and I decided to travel to the quarantine to attend a wedding and to enjoy the drive. The trip after that turned into a disaster, right? I think this is the former minister in the PPP. Right? It turned into a disaster as there was a noticeable buildup of traffic, which got progressively worse and frustrating. Our vehicle got stuck in the chaotic congestion, not only to the east, but to the opposite direction as well. And he spells chaotic the way we call it, C-H-O-W-T-I-C. Chaotic. I don't think it's the word. It's chaotic. You know how we do it. Right? People are complaining. And I don't know, we just seem to go ahead and decide and say, it didn't happen. You know,
Yeah,
but that was the Ghana police force and the
we
whole
had,
government
we had people
on
who had
display.
to turn back
Yeah.
because they had to be idling their cars because of the heat.
Yeah.
They couldn't get to a gas
Yeah.
station. It was mayhem.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
absolute
A couple got
mayhem.
married in Georgetown, was traveling up for their reception. Well, let me 12 o'clock. Sunday night. Or was it Monday morning? Monday morning. Because the rest was Sunday. 12 o'clock. 12 a.m. They got the reception and everything done. Then they were the hosts.
Guess so.
Different in this country. We heard children got shot in that. Warren was telling us, Warren Figueroa, his daughter is here currently with a team visiting from overseas. Imagine bringing your friends to see your homeland.
10 hours they had. They actually had 10 hours because they, in the time that they take to get, to where they were trying to get to, by the time they got to turn back, if they missed the event altogether and all of that, and when they're coming back now, when they got back home, it was basically 10 hours on the road, doing absolutely nothing but losing your mind.
Yeah.
If that is not just an example.
This is Guyana, man.
Of how it is that this government cares about the people of Guyana. I don't know what is.
I think it's just
I don't know what.
The letter writer said they alone went through their sirens.
Yeah.
Them alone went through their sirens. Right? To and from the event, hassle-free. And boys come back. That's what we say. Them boys come back. And while we're following that, the other issue we're following, folks, is this. That pothole. This is the most famous pothole in the country, right? This is on Thomas Lands. When you're coming towards chemistry there, they just resurfaced, rehabilitated that road there, and there's this big pothole. I remember last week you had one jail fuming. He said it was substandard work, and they were going to fix it. Well, the pothole is still a watchery, right? The contractor was laughing. He said, "Fix what? Hope you got another 10 million in your budget." Right. So the pothole still watching us. The pothole still watching us. Now this goes to the kind of corruption that exists in this country,
But Edgel,
right? Because who signed off on this thing in the first place?
Promised. But Edgel promised that it would be a waste of time.
Pothole still watching us. Sadly, pothole still watching us, folks. So there is that. It's so much. Like where do you start? And as we're talking about fuming, Jack Joe a year ago was fuming as well. He was fuming that the persons found in this 1 billion fuel racket between Guy Oil and GDF, right? They would face prosecution. Well, we're still waiting for all the people who were supposed to face prosecution 1 billion in fuel.
It's a B, not the M.
1 billion. And you know what is to me even more startling? Equally with this 1 billion in fuel, I want y'all get numb to these things, brothers and sisters. Is it GDF? Let us sink in. Right? This is the Ghana Defense Force. This is not some little corner shop. 1 billion in fuel, racket, fraud, thief in fuel, GDF, right? And Guy Oil. And Guy Oil went in another scandal just the other day too. You remember?
That employee.
Yeah.
You remember?
Right. Akani Blair and all the other folks.
Who's now the foreman?
Yeah. Statement construction. Yeah. You see, that's the PPP for you. The more corruption is the more elevation.
The fisherman said it.
Yeah.
He captured it.
Yeah. If you're the one involved in corruption in this country,
can't be involved in corruption, you can't work with this government.
You can't work with them. Yeah. And so there is that. Also, we were talking last night in our affiliate program In the Ring. The fact that in the police force right now, they got cases before the court of a 300 million fraud. 300. So think about that. 1 billion in fuel, GDF, So when Sabbath Cruisers, they talk about compromise, how the police force has been compromised.
You know what? All of Shari's talking, and all I can think about is all of that, and them boys coming for you.
Yeah.
Jagabat and trench coat.
Yeah.
That's the biggest.
Yeah. 1 billion in fuel. Nobody in face prosecution yet. Nobody got a court date. Much more to be sentenced. Right, but a man feel prodded by them, prodded by the real Jagabas and trench coats that I call it Jagabas and trench coats. He's so offended. Yeah. Right, and they're wasting taxpayers' money on that.
That's correct.
Right, but the billion in fuel, right? The folks from Guyana never face a day prosecution.
But I want to mention one thing when it comes to the fuel racket, as I would put it over, because when the coalition went into office in 2015, persons that I don't know if people could remember, I think it was 2016 or 2017. I'm not too keen on that, but the case was that persons were taken before the court. There was a police investigation done. Persons taken before the court. Persons were charged when it comes to a fuel racket, and that was that was at play there at the Ministry of Education. I'm saying that to say, when everything was said and done, I personally, as a member of the Public Accounts Committee, I would have traced how long these things have been going on. And way before 2015, the audit general's report was coming that they couldn't verify this when it comes to fuel slips and so forth. Those things not being prepared and all of that between the Ministry of Education and Guy Oil and all of those things. It was there for years. When the coalition got into office now, it was identified, and an investigation was done. Persons were put before the court, and they had to face the blunt of the law when it comes to that. Those are not things that we went in there and create. Those are things we went in there and meet, and it was corrected. People were charged. What's going on now?
Yeah. What's going on now? There was a promise by your Vice President, Mr. Jack New, that that charges would be laid on prosecution. Well, y'all know, he got your own problems with corruption. So I don't know how you can try the devil's case in Hell's Kitchen. So, Kaitro News reflecting on this issue in today's editorial says official corruption, political corruption, and professional corruption drain the blood of citizens, leaving them anemic and weak. And when you talk, Amanza, about what are we going to do and why more people aren't expressing consternation of what's happening, we think this is it. And weak. Right? Anemic and weak. You're tired, you're fed up. You become numb in some instances to it because you hear about it every day, and you see nothing done. That's the other part of it. What gives people the impetus to come forward and to speak? This is Kaitro News editorial. Official corruptions, political corruptions, and professional corruptions drain the blood of citizens, leaving them anemic and weak. And imagine if you got just along 7 hours in traffic, they have to come and deal with the Jagamas and trench rappers. We're there in this country. You understand? You're tired. You're looking for the next plane out. You're looking for the next plane out.
And that is something that we've been tracking, and the numbers are showing that people are actually leaving. If you track the numbers, and so it's amazing that these guys like to portray, but the numbers never lie.
Every time people is in office, people leave.
When you track the migration rate,
that's always Monday
between 2015 and 2020,
people were coming back home.
You saw the migration rate was increasing. Now, in the last 2 years, over the last 6 months, if you track the number of people leaving,
you have not. It's serious. I mean, folks, you don't have any idea how serious it is. But people are who don't already have a clear escape route that they have utilized and has exit these shores. Persons are every day preparing to leave.
And planning.
Everybody's preparing to leave. Persons are saying that they're just trying to hold on a little bit longer, but they are plotting an escape route to make sure that whatever, they must be able to get up and take their family and leave. That's what's going on. Is the reality on the ground. And many of you right here in the comment section, you were part of those groups of people too.
I tried to raise the ticket money.
It's serious.
I tried to raise the ticket money.
But on a note, it's almost $2,000 for a ticket. To go somewhere to leave Guyana right now. $2,000 for a ticket to the US.
They're conspiring with them so we can leave. Do what we gotta do.
Keep them
I hear Amanda talk about the numbers and why people might be leaving. Well, don't take our word for it. Brace yourself. Brace yourself. You gotta strap yourself in. Your boy Clement Roy is speaking again. The last time we heard from Clement Roy, he was telling us, watch the Sri Lanka, right? That they're fighting for democracy there, the high prices and so on. They were protesting. They got rid of the president. They said he supports what's happening in Sri Lanka there. I don't know. I don't know. In politics, sometimes you want to read the tea leaves. You want to see the wind blowing here. So, man, just come on and tell me plain straight, Rohi. What you want to do? Because I know it's a wink if it's what, but you got some suggestions today. You know, we're talking about the numbers, and everybody's like to talk about the GDP and all of that. Well, you know,
I'm fed up with the nonsense.
Rohi says economic growth does not translate into less poverty.
Rohi.
Let me finish.
Which Rohi you talking about? No, you need to talk which Rohi you're talking about.
Clement.
Who Clement?
Former Minister of Foreign Affairs. Former Minister of Home Affairs of Guyana.
PNC Minister or something?
Clement Rohi. The one that goes by.
The PPP Minister.
The one that goes by.
The PPP Minister. Listen, I'm telling you, some people, when you are at a different age and stage in your life, you're trying to make it right. You understand?
Get mellow. Right. And Clement says, he was talking about the World Bank, the rosy picture the World Bank had painted, and it filtering some of Irfan Ali's speeches and why he may have give growing commentary on the GDP and so on. He said what the World Bank did not say was while the conventional formula for success rests on economic growth does not necessarily translate into less poverty. Nowadays, economists argue that growth is an insufficient measure of human development. This is true because while there has been growth at a global level, millions around the world live in poverty and die daily from hunger and starvation. He's telling us what is to come. Right? He's telling us, as a matter of fact, he ends his letter in today's newspaper. By saying, with all of this growth that is coming, I wonder who will benefit.
Clement Rohi.
Clement.
Well, I could guarantee y'all.
Clement.
Listen to me. I could guarantee y'all something. That we will cease to see these objective types of observations from Clement Rohi, because it was just announced that he is replacing Bibi Shadiq as the GCOM commissioner. But let's watch and wait.
Let's see how objective he stays.
Listen. Let's start off. Let's start breaking that
Maybe
down.
this is his farewell to
the arms.
Independent speech.
The arms.
Farewell.
Let's start breaking down what he said from the position that from the fact that this is what we've been explaining to you from day one. We have been explaining to you, and each and every one of you out here, once you are a part of the FYI family, you know this by heart now, because we've been telling you that those numbers is just what it is, numbers. And when it comes to the real sectors in the society, we're having an issue. The problem is the World Bank is doing their part. They're saying this is your GDP and all of that. What the World Bank can't do now is to say, well, PPP administration, y'all got this nice number, and so make sure y'all share it equally among the people of the country, equitably more so, because when you're looking at poverty and poverty alleviation, you simply can't give people in poverty the same thing you're giving people out of poverty, because you're not changing that system. That's why you need equitable distribution of the resources. That's what that is, and he is correct. And economists have been talking about, because it's true, because the measures that people look at when it comes to your GDP growth and so forth, it really doesn't translate into real development and lifting of the person's ability to raise their own standard of living at the family level.
And every
that's
knows
what we've been
that.
saying
Every Guyanese can relate to that, because you ask the average Guyanese, the working class, poor Guyanese, do you feel any better off? Sheriff
said something very important. Very recently, he said, pretty soon that you're going to stop seeing the headlines about the new this oil discoveries. The new discoveries, because they realize that when people see it, it's just making us angry now as a people. Because why are you even announcing this if we're not seeing 1 cent of this money in our pockets?
It's become like COVID.
Nobody wants to see it anymore.
It's page 12. Somewhere or something.
We found 2 more wells and 2 more.
Some paragraph at the bottom of something.
What do you got to do with it? But folks, the big issue this morning, as you know, we still try to come to grips with the Bascom allegations and what allegations they have been. Every traffic seems to have stopped with these allegations. You're just in pause more, like what more is to come. Well, folks, we learned that quite recently there was a lot more to come because Mr. Bascom has lawyered up, as we say, and he's represented now by Hughes, Fields, and Stobie, which wrote not only to Punai, which represents Ashruddin Mohammed, Mr. Mitchell Caesar, and also Mark Richmond, who were part of the allegations that Mr. Bascom made of interfering and covering up aspects of the investigations into the murder of Ricardo Fagundes. But Mr. Yusuf and Sobi wrote to Punai and also Irfan Ali, yesterday as president. And in this letter to Irfan Ali, Nigel Hughes, who signed that letter, as far as we know, said, "We fear that the life of our client is in grave danger." He reiterated as well, "Our client stands by the statements he made and is prepared to testify under oath." And Hughes, Fields, and Sobi are requesting of the president, under the client's instructions, what you call witness protection, because of the people who are involved, and what the letter says is misconduct by the investigators and others in the course of this investigation. Folks, not a day go by. You know, we're not even out of the investigation for the Shoegate scandal, because that's still pending too. And here we are yet again.
I truly admire that Mr. Bascom has decided that he will stick to his guns. You know, his proverbial guns, and that he will stand by what he says. And I had the opportunity to look at some of the live feeds that he said, and
quite interesting.
It's very interesting, and his courage is commendable. Let me say that. His courage is absolutely commendable. Because the man declared that I would rather die telling the truth than die with the truth inside of me. And that struck, that really, said to me that he was very serious about what he was saying. And it was something that he was prepared to die about and to give his life up about. This has to concern us. I mean, these are the people that we entrust with our safety, our protection, with the maintenance of law and order. And if what he is saying is true, then we are in a bad place.
We're in a bad way.
We are in a bad place. And I really hope that, we agitate for an impartial investigation, and that every segment of society calls for an impartial investigation by preferably an international organization. Because how do you trust the system that appears to be so compromised to
that's the challenge
to investigate itself? So it's really, really concerning. I'm glad that he has lawyered up, because it will be very, very important for him to get proper legal defense. And I personally feel like if something happens to him, it would be that we as a nation would have failed him. I really do feel that way.
What is more incredible, we get to see all this play out in real time.
In real time.
With this social media generation, everything is right there in your face.
And man, so
that would be the tragedy.
I'm sticking to my
when,
gun.
for instance, George Bacchus died, that was such a tragedy. But more should have been done, of course, to protect George Bacchus,
him.
Right? But just left in the open like that. And it came as no surprise when people heard that George Bacchus was gunned down in his very home. Right? And what you see now, we didn't have the social media as we had it now.
Right. So the narrative was more controlled and so on. And so, like I said, we have to do as a nation. So what we have to do to protect and support him, because it takes courage to do. And I'd be like, oh, why you wait? Why you this? Why you that? Why you that? You have to be in somebody's shoes to be able to understand what they're going through. It's easy to talk when you're not experiencing.
All the people in there know what happening. You think it's yellow?
There are other people,
know what happening.
but they lack. He's had enough. He has had enough, and there's something about a man that has had enough and has decided, what? If that is it, that is it. And those are the types of people that end up changing the world.
So here we are.
Yep.
Here we are.
But there's a lot. I think there's a lot. There's a lot more to come. as we're seeing it,
And he said,
there's a lot more
you
to
know, I have a
come.
lot more evidence.
Yes.
I can't show you all everything.
But there's a lot more to come. What was clear is that he was exposed to a lot. That is one thing that's clear, because he seems to be speaking from a position of a know-how. He knows this and that. So he was clearly exposed to a lot, and I think that there's a lot more to come.
No, in a professional organization and in a proper democracy, if a former police officer, or a police officer, because as far as I know, he's still a police officer, comes out with such damning allegations, a proper organization would have asked the people who are named to proceed on administrative leave pending an investigation. That is how a functioning society works.
But as Sabak News said in his editorial yesterday, the police force is so compromised, you know. I saw even Paul Slow weigh in and say that no apparatus that the police force has currently is equipped to investigate such matters, because so many people are compromised in the investigation, right? So many people are fingered in the allegations that are made that they just don't have the capacity. One, they don't have the integrity. All of that is what Paul Slow said in a letter to the press yesterday.
They need to seek, you know, and it's very interesting that the FBI was down here talking with Nandlal. If the government is serious, they should activate that cooperation that was extended and have them come in and investigate what is happening. Have them send professionals. You know.
But it's strange, Manzo, because remember after the King Street, not King Street, the Brickdam police station fire, FYI promised international investigation and all of that, and that seems to have gone cold. I mean, whatever happened to the guy with the light in the wire and the sponge?
The sponge.
You know, who...
and they couldn't decide, because one of it was some people from the opposition who were in New York calling for it. But it occurred to me that if you listen to what Dion Bascom said, he said, God was with me, that I snapped this thing from the diary, because the station burned down and the diary gone up in flames.
You know where it's burned down? That's burned down. DPP office and the Office of Professional Responsibility. Right? You think things just got up in flames just now? A whole police station, 80% burned down, billions in just with a man with a lighter, a wire and a sponge.
And a sponge.
You know? What else went up in flames there? Oh my. You know, I heard the UG former Vice Chancellor, not Opede, the guy who was before him, Griffith, said once, he said, not everything that counts can be counted.
Can be counted.
Not everything that can be counted
counts. Yeah.
Right. So the untold losses in there, we can't measure it in finances. Because if you had certain kinds of evidence and so on, you know, and statements and so on, you know, and
how many other persons would have had that experience, and would have been told to go? How many other police would have been told to go lodge a complaint? A lot of policemen know what's happening. A lot of policemen know what is happening. They tell you they feel powerless, and some of them even admit that, you know what, we get drafted into the police force. We go in there with every intention of fighting crime. And then when you get into the system and you realize that the people who are supposed to be the examples of professionalism are the most corrupt, you're like, well, if they are, what am I? And who am I to be fighting against this?
You have to make a bread too.
I got to eat too.
You got to make a bread.
And that level of decay begins to seep into your system. We need an impartial investigation. We need for Mr. Blanham and Mr. whoever the guy is, Caesar, and all those names have been calling to do the honorable thing and proceed on leave. You understand? Demonstrate your professionalism.
You know, it didn't pass some folks that you have one law firm representing the people who are investigating, the people who are being investigated. You know, one law firm representing all of that.
I think it was.
It didn't slip folks.
I think that was it.
I mean, people are entitled to whichever law firm they want to have represent them, but it didn't strike.
But certainly, if you want to put distance between you and somebody you are accused of colluding with young
Yeah,
Jews of
because
different
I'm
lands.
certain that Mr. Caesar should have been told that, you know, we are also representing Asudin Mohammed, and we are also representing Mark Richmond. I can imagine Mr. Caesar saying, Mr. Caesar, no, don't bother with that. That's a lot right there.
No,
You
but you see, but
Don't bother with that.
when you see law and order and the things of law
Yeah.
and order become a joke,
Yeah.
know that
Yeah.
your society is on the verge
Yeah.
of being doomed.
Yeah.
And I say it, that the word is slipping me. That traffic jam situation is a synonym almost, is emblematic
Mhm.
of what is going to happen to Ghanaian
Yeah.
society. The average man and woman will get stuck, and the rich and the oligarchs will zoom
With
by
impunity. Yeah.
with their
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
the poor and the working class
And
Guyanese,
flaunt.
the ordinary Guyanese.
Flaunt.
They can't jump on a
Yeah.
plane, that will have to stay here
Yeah.
and suffer. You saw in Trinidad how the thing about
Those who can afford to run will run.
That's what Buju said. But
Yeah.
what about those who can't?
What about those who can? They will have to stay.
You look at Trinidad, and you recall some years ago the crime situation was out of control.
Yeah.
Because with an
Yeah.
oil economy, both the good and the bad comes.
Yeah. How come we're looking so pre-2015 in 2 short years? It feels very much pre-2015 to me. It feels so, you know, all of the miasma, the filth, the degradation, you know, and the PPP.
And then you know what? Instead of sitting down to earnestly tackle these issues, they want to come after people like you, and they want to come after people like me, and they want to come after people like Jaretta, and they're going to dig up and who ain't looking at Soku and who ain't sending what, instead of using that energy to govern this nation properly. Well, let them keep digging. They're gonna dig, they're gonna dig, they're gonna dig.
We have, and the real intellectual the mastermind of the filth that we're living in, they go scot-free. As a matter of fact, they're getting police escort. Right, but that's just where we are, folks. That's just where we are. But we gotta keep it hit. We gotta keep it hit.
Because oh my God, when you go through a program like this, and there is like, what good is there to report that is happening? You can become depressed. You can become just, you know what? Let's to hell with it. Let's just pack up and go home. But we have to stay committed. We have to think the longest night comes before dawn. And Martin Luther said something, the moral arc of justice is long. The moral arc of the universe is long, but it tends towards justice. And we hope that Officer Bascom gets justice. And we hope that the people who need to be brought to justice will be brought to justice. And that as a nation, we advocate for the protection of this man.
Yeah. And at the center of it all, you know, we need to remember, at the center of it all, you have the family of Ricardo Fagundes actually out there with no answers. And right now, with all the revelations, with all the allegations put out there by Dion Bascom, Ricardo Fagundes' family is saying they need justice, they need answers. Rightly so. Rightly so. Because as everything that transpired prior to these allegations, it's like that was a dead end. Cold case altogether, and now with all that has been said, his family is calling for justice.
And you know, Nigel News made a point in the letter to Irfan Ali. He said this shooting happened right outside your house. Right? You could hear the gunshots from your bedroom. Right? If that is not something to spawn a high-level investigation, that criminals could be so brazen
and this with such
impunity, right? And Bascom said when they did the thing on the phone, they know who the fella called before, who he called after, and where he was when he made the calls. Right? And them boys do the whole story. Right? But justice.
Every day buckets will go well, one day battle will fall out.
That's it.
Thank you for joining us this morning, guys.
Smash that emoji button, folks. Smash.
Share.
Smash.
And so that you can get valid and credible information. And guys, we know there's a lot going on, but just stay encouraged. Stay encouraged. Speak to yourself. Encourage yourself. However you encourage yourself.
Yeah.
Because, we're in for a tough time. We're in for a tough ride, and we will continue to do what we can do, and all it is within our power to do.
Yeah.
And as citizens, you have to continue to be engaged and continue to get valid and credible information so that you can make decisions.
Yeah.
And remember, when it comes to election time, just remember these times and these moments.
Yeah.
Because understand that your vote is what can correct all of this.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we gotta be so brutal to each other. Why couldn't we? Maybe if we were different people, as Rita was articulating earlier, share the wealth of this country equitably. It's so much. It's so vast. It's so high we can't get over it. It's so low we can't get under it. It's so much.
You can't get around it.
We can't get around it.
Yeah.
The wealth of this country, but it is what it is. And you know what? One of our senior politicians passed away over the weekend. And in her religion, you bury almost immediately. You could die and bury and life goes on Monday morning. We don't carry nothing we got with us, That's what I took away from it.
Absolutely.
Right? We don't carry nothing. That we got these big vehicles and sirens and so on. Let's show two sirens even if it's treated.
And so when you think about that, isn't it infinitely better? And I think this is where Irfan has such a golden opportunity to really emerge as a leader.
He doesn't rise to the occasion.
Ever.
Amanda, as her party comrades bid farewell to Bibi Shadiq, the GCOM Commissioner, Pro-Chancellor, University of Guyana, politician for a very long time in this country, I thought in her faith, there's so much that connects us as a people than divides us. In her faith, they say, from Allah we come,
and
to Allah
we shall return.
And there's a beautiful, it sounds better in the,
in Arabic, yes,
sounds much better than that.
Yes.
From Allah we came, and to Allah we shall return. Right? In the Christian tenets, we say from God. To be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. It's the same thing.
It is.
It's the same identical thing. All we gotta go back, all of we, all of us, we can't carry the cup, the shutter, everything a rat and left right here. And we got to treat each other different. And as Amanzi says, if Ronaldo has such a tremendous opportunity to set the tone, I try to say it as much as I can. He can be a good installed president if he put his mind to it.
If he puts his mind to it.
Right? You got to separate himself from this fellow named Jack Dio.
He keeps
falling. Jack Dio has
falling at the table.
One character about him. And that can't change it. You see, that's the thing with leadership. It don't conceal, it's revealed.
Yep.
Right? And every time Jack Dio is given leadership, it's one character. That is who he is. That is who he is. That can't change. That is who he is. He can be president for the rest 1,000 years. You'll get the same quality of leadership because that is the core of his fabric.
You bring to leadership what you are, and FYI family, it's a little heavy coming down to the end here, but it is super.
The tragedy is that we didn't see here yet. The tragedy.
Yeah.
All we've seen is Jack Dio.
Well,
that's the tragedy.
I don't know who missed it, but one of the most most interesting bits of the Dion Bascom the scenario and all the allegations is that within all of that, whose name is to pop up? Oh well, them boys telling the vice president. That is because he get a gun.
Yeah.
The very fact that was even said.
Yeah. It just lets you know the control freakism and the micromanagement and just the whole.
Boys telling Ben,
the whole pulling of the lever.
Or anybody else. So you see immediately who is already at play.
Yeah. But I see Young came looking for a politician, and immediately
somebody sent her.
Folks, that's it for time this morning.
We gotta go. We gotta go. Have a blessed day, guys, and just remember to stay encouraged and make it a great day.
That's it, guys. That's it, folks. That's all, folks.
Remember to share the live, smash those emoji buttons so that we can get valid and
partner with me too, so we can keep on bringing these programs.
All of this don't just happen for free.
You know PayPal and MMG. We're available via Cash App, and MoneyGram, Western Union, to keep it going, folks. It takes something. Thanks for joining us.